Brandon Benefield, Gerard Bonner, and Diana Michelle.
What's going on, everybody? It's that time of the week. It's Friday. You know what that means. It's time for your favorite podcast, the SHW podcast. This is our wrestling. I'm B-Double Brandon Benefield, alongside the great Gerard Bonner and the beautiful Diana Michelle. By the way, shout out. Yeah. Shout out, Tapped Out Nick, Tapped Out Myron. I see your shirt there, Diana.
Yeah.
Tapped Out. Support your friends, guys.
Yeah.
Support your friends.
They're always coming to our shows and shouting us out. So,
yes.
Anyways, we're coming off of a big show, by the way, SHW54.
Huge. Yeah.
And we're on the cusp of a massive show. SHW Still Here 5. Can you believe we're almost at 5 years old? Woo! Oh my goodness.
That's crazy. We're still toddlers, but yay, we're graduating.
I know.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
But 54 was just last Friday. And I mean, talk about a build up to SHW Still Here 5. It was insane. And it wasn't, we said this leading into it, it wasn't going to be one of those like filler shows. It's in between the Rumble Jack and Still Here. No, this show went all out and all out. Yeah, all out, all in. No, but it went just crazy with great matches. But I felt like, correct me if I'm wrong, it seemed like after every segment or every match, some sort of chaos happened. It was pretty intense.
It was.
Wouldn't you say?
It was. It was very exciting. You had to stay on your toes.
Yeah.
Looking around everywhere, you never know who was going to come up from what rail, what corner. Faces unexpected.
Well, starting out the show, GB, you were trying to do our show open and fill the fans in on what happened if they weren't there.
Yeah, we were trying to open up the show, and before we knew it, we were interrupted by the bloodied body of one David Ali, who was getting trounced by the End Game. Now, of course, he was supposed to be part of the main event in a 6-man tag against the End Game, and the End Game just couldn't wait. So obviously they had started beating him up backstage, threw him out, and this is one of the most brutal one-sided beatings I've ever seen. And his tag team partners, Gunnar Miller and Corey Hollis, had not arrived at the building yet, which the End Game knew. And so there was nobody who, was able to come out and save David Ali. The savior was in need of saving, and nobody was present. And he got bloodied and bludgeoned, and it really made us question whether or not we would see David Ali for the rest of the night.
Well, and the thing is, too, GB, this came right off of us doing the pre-show, which, by the way, fans, watch our pre-shows. We're there live 7 to 7:30 every time we have one of the big SHW shows. Tune in on the Facebook page, Facebook Live. We do a quick rundown, quick preview again of the show. And GB, you even said, just watch. I bet End Game's going to do whatever they can to take this guy out heading into the anniversary show. And the show started off with a bloody, battered David Ali.
I'm almost wondering if him doing the pre-show was a mistake. Because clearly they were able to see that he was here. Yeah. And, I don't know where they were, but they obviously knew he was by himself. And so
I knew that we were available to everybody there. So.
Here's the thing. You know how I know they were watching? I know they were watching because I kept referring to our champion as Judas. And then when I went backstage after the pre-show, I was accosted by the End Game saying, "It's Judas, get it right or pay the price."
Wow. Well, there it is.
So I know they were watching, and you're probably right. I mean, it was great to have David surprise us on the pre-show, but that could have proved to be the downfall for him, at least at the beginning of the show. So, anyways,
we did have a little bit of smack to talk again. So.
Yeah. So you're saying he brought it on himself? So it wasn't our fault. So we're in the clear.
I wouldn't say it was our fault. We were available. That we were doing what we do.
We're just doing our jobs.
We're just doing our jobs. David wanted to come out and say his piece again, and we're always glad to see David. We're always glad to see, especially when he's been in Chicago for 10, 11 months now, and he comes home and trying to take the title back, and I don't know. He's got beef with Judas and with Todd and now Nick. So course he's going to say. I mean, when have we ever known David not to have something to say?
Yeah. Yep. Well, I tell you what, we weren't sure at that point if he would make it to the main event. Of course, we did find out later what would happen there. We'll get to that as we do our recap here. But let's start out with the first match, the first official match, not the first segment of the show, but the first official match, which turned out to be Najasism and Ashton Starr. And going into this, I was curious. I even said it to GB on commentary. How is this going to work out? Because both of these guys, I think, and still are fan favorites. And I was curious to see kind of how the fans would go in this match. And it was fairly even for both guys throughout the match. But the other thing to think about was, Ashton's got this ongoing thing with Movie Mike, whether he likes it or not. And then Naja has this ongoing thing with Owen Knight. And both of them, we weren't sure if they were in the building. We knew Owen had a match, but we weren't sure if they were in the building for this opening match. So we didn't know what was going to happen. But I thought it was a great way to kick off the show. GB, you called it an instant classic. And that's no hyperbole. I mean, it was that good.
It really was.
Yeah.
It really was. I could watch that match again. Honestly. Them being matched up in any kind of situation, I think it's just gold. I mean, they played off each other pretty well. The whole battle was just like a beautiful dance, if you will. Of course, Naja, we understand why Naja and Owen have beef. We understand that.
Yeah.
I am confused. So hard confused. What is up with Movie Mike? And I swear to God, this is definitely, I mean, I'm going to say it again. It is so single white female. I know that's a movie. It's a drama. It's a horror. It's whatever. But that is exactly what this is. It's creepy.
Here's the thing.
I need somebody to understand. I just need some understanding.
We'll get to it in a minute. And it actually got posted earlier this week on social media in case people didn't see it there at the show. But before we get to the video that Movie Mike sent in, GB, we'll get your thoughts before we get there.
Yes. Yeah, it was wild. And the mind games that happened on both sides from both Owen Knight and Movie Mike made this match even crazier, considering both of their musics played and nobody showed up. And, obviously, well, I don't know that we give the results away or not, but you can watch it on IVTV. But either way,
the report's already been put out, so don't worry about it.
Spoilers are out there. Ashton Starr ends up winning the match. But again, after the match, I will say I was so confused that night that I'm actually glad that, the Movie Mike promo dropped, because I really got a chance to see it and experience it. And I went, this guy, I'm trying to figure out the words to properly, what this is like? It's like when you meet somebody on social media and you swear you're their friend, and then you go to meet them in person and they don't recognize you because probably, your avatar is different. You don't look as advertised. You think you're closer to them than they think they're closer to you. And it gets really awkward. That's what it feels like we have right now.
Yeah.
And Movie Mike is not happy at all. And this feels like a lot of shows right now. It feels like that show it feels like, this is a problem. And I'm actually concerned for the well-being of Ashton Starr. He needs to have somebody rolling with him on the regular, because I feel like Movie Mike, I don't know, he might pull up somewhere.
Yeah.
And not just Ashton, but maybe Ashton's loved ones, I'm afraid.
Well, who knows?
I'm talking going complete single white female movie on this, because it's creepy.
So if you haven't seen it, and if you weren't there last Friday, it was posted on the socials earlier this week. The Movie Mike music video, I guess we'll call it. It was GB, you might have to help me on a date here. Was it early 2000s? Eminem. So Eminem had a guy named Stan that was stalking him. And Ashton Starr now in turn has a guy named Movie Mike, for lack of a better term, stalking him. And I don't know if it was maybe early 2000s, late 90s, somewhere in there, but it was Eminem and Dido put out a song called Stan. And this was I guess maybe Movie Mike's version, and it was if you're familiar with that song, you would
Mhm.
appreciate this song because I got to
Yes.
tell you, when I heard it, as weird as it is, and I know it's weird and it's creepy, but man, it kind of made me chuckle. There was a point where in the Stand song where he's kidnapped, to your point, Diana, kidnapped a family member or something, or maybe I don't remember what it was, but you hear somebody screaming in the background, and anyways, in this video, you hear screaming, and then he says, "Quiet, Danny, quiet on the set," and he's referring to
Yes.
Danny Jordan. I'm like, wait, what?
Yes.
What's happening here? And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the
It was
part that
pretty
I was like,
creative.
yeah, that's the part I went,
It
wait,
is
what?
very but creepy. It's creepy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Creative and
Anyways,
creepy. Mhm.
so clearly at the show when that video played, Ashton was just as disturbed by it or as the rest of us were, and decided to get on the mic and basically lay out the challenge and say, look, you want an invitation from me? Fine. Meet me at Still Here 5. And of course, we saw the poster that was released earlier this week. That match has been made official. It will be Movie Mike and Ashton Starr. And of course, as the next couple of weeks go, we will talk more and more about the card to build up Still Here 5. But man, what an interesting turn of events that was with Movie Mike. And you've been saying it, we've been saying it for months now, ever since he arrived in SHW. Is he stalking him? Is he trying to become tag team partners? Is he trying to challenge him to a match? Like, what exactly is happening? And then we see this video and we're like, all right, that's it's what we thought it was, I guess.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Yeah, I feel like the match wasn't his end game. Sorry. It just wasn't. It was really, I think he wanted to be connected. It's kind of, again, that person that you think is your friend in your head. You've developed an entire story about who they are to you, and then you realize that they don't see the same thing, and it causes some people to go off of the deep end. And I think that's where Movie Mike is, and that's scary.
there's a movie from
Fishing.
the early to mid 90s called Ace Ventura, and I'm sure you guys have seen it.
Yes, the Pet Detective.
That was my jam back in the day. I love that movie. But in the movie, there's a character called Ray Finkel who was a bit of a stalker to Dan Marino. And so
Right.
when Ace Ventura finds the box full of belongings to Ray Finkel, he's going through them. And I posted the clip on social media, which was I said was our reaction to seeing Movie Mike's video where Ace Ventura goes, "Whew, obsessed much?" And that's exactly how I felt, which was obsessed much. Yeah. So
Exactly.
it was yeah, man,
Creepy.
it's creepy. But anyways, moving on from there. We had we heard from our general manager, Gary Lamb, who came out just to greet the crowd as he tends to do. And he was interrupted by a gentleman we saw at the Rumble Jack, who, mind you, was not ever an official entrant in the Rumble Jack, but he was there. His name's Alexander Lev, and he showed up again here last Friday and interrupted Gary, and again wanted some competition, wanted to fight somebody in the locker room. He claims he's faithful, still not quite sure to what.
Thank you.
And he refers to us and the roster and everybody that works at SHW as addicts.
Of
Again, of what we're not sure. But Gary's finally had enough of them after what, 2 months, or has it been 3 months, maybe 2 months at least, being interrupted by Alexander Lev. And he said, all right, I'll give you a match if you want a match. Now, we knew that Cyrus was supposed to be in the building because we had seen a flyer saying he was going to be there. We're going to find out what's next for Cyrus. I assumed it was going to have something to do with Cruel, seeing as how the last couple of months they've kind of been involved in each other's business. Turns out, we'll get to that later in the show here. But at this moment in time, Cyrus comes out, and boy, did you see the look on Lev's face when he realized it was like the regret immediately hit him when that music hit, and everybody in the building recognized that music, and we all went, "Oh boy!"
that was pure joy to announce Cyrus to the ring.
So,
it was just pure joy.
On that note, Diana, so Impact has posted some clips already on social media, and if you haven't seen them, you can go on SHW's Instagram and see some of the clips as people were making their entrances. And I think his caption was something about how excited you were during your intro.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Because you really laid it in when you announced
Mhm.
Cyrus's name. It was
I
awesome.
growled that one out good. It felt good. Yeah. You're a
love it.
bad whooping of the night.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I don't understand a lot of things, apparently, because I say that a lot. But I guess I'm going to have to sit down with Mr. Lev and find out what he is faithful to, and what all of us are addicted to, and what the contrast is there, because I don't get it. I'm addicted to love. You might as well face it. But I don't know about the faithful. I don't understand what his angle is. So somebody help me out if you guys know.
GB, what was it we said the other night? Might as well face it. He's addicted to punishment.
Addicted to punishment. Indeed.
Right.
Indeed.
Or addicted to
Indeed.
having his foot in his mouth because he's eating a lot of that.
He
Bless
has. I wonder at what point he will either tell us what we are addicted to, or find another way to enter into SHW. I mean, it's clear he wants to find his way here. He keeps interrupting, of all people, Gary Lamb, which
I don't understand.
why? Like, that's a death wish. Nobody interrupts Gary, because particularly if you are brand new, if you're a stranger, nobody knows who you are, probably not the way to get entry.
Maybe he's faithful to being annoying.
That's possible too.
Could be.
I mean, he's certainly committed to it.
I will
Yeah.
say this to his credit, as crazy as it seems, he really, I mean, he's going all out. He's shown up and he's grabbed a mic. He's taken the initiative to get on a mic and show up in front of the SHW crowd, who are not easy to please, mind you, especially like you said, GB, if you're a newbie. So the fact that he's getting out there 2 months in a row at that, so more power
Not
to
just
him.
that, but being a newbie is being hard, but coming out and interrupting Canton's prince, their king, Gary Lamb. I mean, he is the godfather of Canton. I will say that they love him there. So that's immediate dismissal when it comes to the Canton fans.
Yeah. Well, who knows what's going to happen with Lev after that? But what we do know is that we had to send some people in from the back to scrape him off the mat when Cyrus was done with him, because man, Cyrus just bulldozed right through him, which was
left stains all night.
Yeah, which was kind of fun to see. I'm not gonna lie, but anyways,
almost as fun as him doing pepper bottom that way, but we'll take it.
By the way, I thought about this afterwards, and this is totally, I'm taking a complete left turn here, but you brought up pepper bottom. It made me think of the Rumblejack, and as I went back and watched Rumblejack on IWTV, the part when the Lumberjacks came out, led by Butterbean, and Butterbean just laid out pepper bottom with that right cross, and I really wished I would have said, or GB would have said, "Down goes pepper bottom, down goes pepper bottom." Just a good boxing call. That, and I thought about it as I watched it back and went, "Oh, there's a missed opportunity." But anyway,
that's funny. That's
He'll
funny.
get another chance.
Yeah. But what a great visual that was. But anyways, speaking of pepper bottom, that brings us to match number 3 on the card, the tag team championship match, the hierarchy. Huh? Are you talking to me? What happened?
What happened?
Diana?
Are you there?
Oh yeah,
there
we're
you
here.
go. I think yeah.
Because y'all both froze. Maybe it's me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe our weather's
you were
crazy.
frozen.
I was frozen because y'all were both like.
Oh, okay. I heard you say, "What's going on?" And then you went like this, and then I thought you were just staying very still. And so, anyways, hey, you know what, folks? That's what happens when we're doing this on the internet.
I love it.
That's right.
I love it.
In the world, it's 2023, the world of Zoom. It's the world we live in.
It is.
Anyways, bringing us to match number 3, the tag team championship match, the hierarchy defending against Exotic Youth, Pepper Bottom and Zach Mosley. And GB, you nailed it when they were making their entrance. You said, "You know what, B-Dub, you're probably not going to want to even talk right now, so I'll just take it." And I said, "By all means, go right ahead." So as far as talking about this match, I'll let you go ahead and take it. What were your thoughts?
Well, I maintain that Exotic Youth is very dangerous right now. And they're dangerous for a few reasons. A, you never know which combination of them will show up. In this case, it was Mosley and Pepperbottom. We always had to look over our shoulder because we didn't know if Bryce Cannon was going to show up, because he can show up at any given time. Then you have the situation with, on paper, it seemed like this should have been a no-brainer for the hierarchy. But as I have come to learn with Exotic Youth, they're going to figure out a way to get the upper hand. And there were several moments where they had the upper hand, and we almost thought that this thing was going to be over. But before we even get into that, probably the one question of the night I had was, Brandon, how in the world did you get Jake the Snake's phone number? Like,
everybody asked me that.
Everybody wanted to know.
You know what's interesting is Huck asked me that, and what I wonder is how Jake, being the booker, and he books All-Star Special on a show, how does Huck not already have his number? How does he get a phone call from Jake and not know it's Jake? That's what I want to know.
I don't know if Jake called him, if Jake called, his partner, if they have
that on Messenger, so you don't have to give out numbers, but
or if they called the third member and the third member does the booking stuff for them. I don't know.
Now, here's the thing. I didn't give out my number. Apparently somebody in the front office gave it out. And since he needed to contact us in the middle of the show, I guess whoever gave it to him said, here's the commentary's number, text this guy. And here's the thing. It came from an unknown number. So maybe it wasn't Jake after all. Maybe it was just some random person.
I don't know.
Dude.
Could you imagine?
I don't know. Can you imagine if somebody was impersonating Jake and that really wasn't supposed to happen? Yikes.
No, it was Jake.
Fired.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, yeah.
It was Jake, but you're right, GB. So it was a bizarre thing. This normally doesn't happen, as any longtime fans know. I almost felt like Michael Cole with the anonymous Raw GM opening the computer and saying, "May I have your attention, please? I have a message from our general manager." But anyways, he said, tell Jeremy Prater to hit the bricks. We don't need his services for this match. And we got a special guest ref, and it turned out to be Hold My Beer Hansen. And not only that, GB, but we had a full all-star takeover. You even said on commentary, because we were joined by Will Huckabee.
That's right. So trust me, if you don't normally watch the show on IWTV and you attended live, you'll need to go back and watch, because you just need to hear Huck on commentary. That's all I got for you, folks.
Look, you don't get to hear a whole lot from Huck during the show because he's doing this thing, but he's magic on the mic now. He is.
As opposed to movie on the mic. So I get it. So yeah, I think totally you got to watch for that, because there were some interesting exchanges that happened on commentary after certain looks happened from the ring that you'll just need to observe. It made for a very interesting time.
Yeah. Diana, your thoughts? I'll tell you this, and then you can tell me what you think. I was happy at least that the hierarchy left the show still with the titles in hand. That's all I'm going to say about it.
I wasn't in any other way. I'm sorry.
Right, exactly.
It wasn't happening. I had to pull somebody off myself. Drag somebody off myself.
Diana's in there breaking up the pinfall.
Yeah, I'm in there jumping elbows on backs and necks or stuff. I mean, kicking off my heels and just jumping in.
Pulling referees out of the ring and whatnot.
I mean, somebody else did that night. So, I mean.
Yeah, we'll get into that for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I thought this match went back and forth more than it should have.
Well, here's the thing. And much like last month, it was controversial because Exotic Youth entered in and just interfered, and basically we had to throw the match out. There's just hierarchy retained then by technicality, just because the match basically got thrown out. In this case, one could say, and it was kind of fun debating with GB, me and Huck on commentary, that maybe the ref was a little controversial. Maybe there was a bit of a slow count, and it was pretty funny because GB's like, "What's he doing?" And I was like, "What are you talking about? That's a normal count. What are you talking about?"
Yeah, his hand hurt.
And then while I'm saying that, Huckabee's going, "Well, that's a hard ring. You've never been in there, GB." It's like,
anyway, he's right.
Hard. It's not. I mean, you don't want to do it again, so you have to take your time, shake it off. You know?
I could see where certain parties Exotic Youth specifically, would be
Mhm.
pretty fired up and would say that it was a controversial match and that they were cheated out of the belts.
There
However,
is no
I
way
have
that they
no
could ever say that with a straight face,
well,
knowing all the crap they've done.
that's what I'm getting at is
Yeah.
I have no I don't feel bad for them at all because they screwed over All-Star Special last month.
Many
So
times.
anyways, we get another text from our great booker Jake the Snake Roberts after the match announcing for SHW Still Here 5 the titles will be on the line once again, but this time in a triple threat tag team match. We're going to get all three teams that have been embroiled in this feud for the last several months. And we're going to see the hierarchy defending against All-Star Special and Exotic Youth on the biggest stage in SHW history, the 5-year anniversary, Still Here 5, October 6th. So that should be a good one. And I can't wait for that. But again, like I said before, we will get into all those matches here in the coming weeks. But all right. Moving on from that match, the Kenway and Kyle Matthews.
Mhm.
Much like we thought about with Nagicism and Ashton Starr, we thought this has all the makings to be a really, really great match. And I think up to a certain point it was until the Kenway kind of lost his cool again. Because, well, Diana, do you want to remind the folks what happened at the beginning of the match? Where he came out, he goes, "Because last month we saw him and he kind of showed a different side where he was kind of using some underhanded tactics, and then
Ugliness, just
he
being
came out,
ugly.
he came out on Friday and kind of changed the tune a little bit. It seemed like
Came out on Friday and asked for the mic. He apologized to the fans, apologized to Kyle for the underhanded tactics that he used at the Rumble Jack against Kyle. I didn't hear him apologize for what he did to Chip, but that's a whole nother story. And wanted a fair fight. He just wanted a nice fight. But then what happened? He lost his mind again. What's going on with this dude? What's going on? I thought he wanted to be, had this great legacy and yada yada. But I don't think this is really what he wants to leave his name on. This type of behavior. But then again, maybe it is. Maybe he's realizing that Chip, a technical wrestler of the year, Kyle, technical wrestler of the year. He's got some big shoes to fill if he's going to come up on both of them, either one of those guys. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's feeling like that's not the only way he can get a hand up. I don't know. What is his deal? What do you think?
Well, GB, I mean, we saw throughout the match just how he was getting more and more frustrated as the match went on. It seemed like, didn't it?
Yeah, it certainly did. And it starts to make me wonder, like, what was the entire apology about if at the end of the night you were going to just do the same thing you were doing anyway? And so that's the wild part, man. Like, I'm trying to understand what's going through the mind of the Kenway. I get being frustrated because you lost the match. I get it. You really wanted to win. We're a competitive space. I understand. And you haven't been able to find out where the wins are since, losing the JTS Legacy Championship. But this isn't the way. If you remember, he was on our podcast several weeks back, and he talked about these family members of his that all kind of went down a certain path. And he was trying not to go down that path, but doesn't feel like he's resisting that very much. And so if that's the future of the Kenway,
is this the real Kenway though?
Again, going back to you, we'll never forget that pre-show when Chip Day came on, and Chip Day told us that the Kenway had us all fooled. And we were like, whatever do you mean, kind sir? And there was a certain passion that he had about it that you were like, he means this, but he's getting it from somewhere and we don't know. Well, it didn't take long for it to come out. To your point, I think we are seeing what Chip Day was talking about all along.
Yeah. And where does it go from here? I don't know, but we shall see. And but again, up to that point, great match. I mean, the guy's got all the talent in the world.
Yeah.
Just depends on
how he decides to use level. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm going to apologize because I'm going to win tonight, but when I don't win, or if I feel like I'm going to lose, and then screw the apology, and we're just going to go back and be whatever it is. I don't know.
No telling. But after that matchup, actually, let me preface this by saying earlier in that week, before SHW54, we'd seen a video released online. Nathan Mowry, who a lot of fans know as one of our camera guys, he's
Kill
been
Billy.
the Kill Billy. Yeah, he's become a professional wrestler in his own right, has toured the country. We've seen him a lot in the Southeast, a lot in the deathmatch scene. GB, you and I have had the pleasure of, kind of shock or whatever you want to call it, of calling a number of his matches. And we've seen him involved in some wild, crazy stuff. He's a wild and crazy guy. And it was he was training, and he was trying to film some of his training, and out of nowhere, Sunny Days in full Sunny Days regalia shows up and just beat the tar out of him. Even with he had this a weapon I never seen before.
Like a barbed wire whip or something.
Yeah, it was like a whip made out of barbed wire, and just laid it into to Nathan Mowry, the Kill Billy. And anyways, so Nathan was on camera doing his normal job the other night, and I decided to get in there and ask him his thoughts to see where his mind was at, what was going on with what had happened with Sunny Days earlier that week. And I will tell you what, this was the first time that the SHW fans have had a chance to really hear Nathan Mowry speak and give his thoughts like that. And man, I give him an A+ for his first ever promo in front of the SHW faithful, because he knocked it out of the park. And man, it was giving me chills, and he was getting the reaction from the crowd and just the things he was saying. You think about, pull the curtain back a little bit, and he was talking about Dylan, Sunny Days, Dylan, call him whatever you want, but he and Nathan go back years and years and years before SHW ever started. And Nathan was a big part of helping start SHW with Dylan. And of course has been there since day one. And from what I gather, once Nathan decided to become a pro wrestler, Dylan just basically laughed in his face and was like, yeah, right, you'll never cut it. And then you saw the attack in that video. And what'd you guys think of Nathan in the ring? It was wild.
He's got passion, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's deep. I mean, when you find something that you really want to do, and you share that with people who are close to you and that's been with you for so many years and through different things, and you've built things together, and then find out that they don't actually support you or want you to do well in what you're passionate about, that could be very hurtful. And I think that's where we're getting this Nathan Mowry from. The Kill Billy is actually, his passion is for wrestling. His passion is for death matches. His passion runs deep. And for Sunny Days / Dylan to not support his best friend in his passion and endeavors to be a professional wrestler, is, I could feel the hurt, but at the same time, I don't want to be on the other side of the ring with this Kill Billy. Y'all seen the stuff that he does? You have? I don't want to be on the other side of the ring when he gets crazy like that, because he's not going to stop. I know you guys have seen his post from this past week where he almost bled out, and he's ready to go into another death match this weekend. Holy crap. I mean, he can't be killed.
GB, he's going into a match this weekend called the Grundle Run, which he was there last year, and we called that match with Tank. This year, he's going into the same show, but he's fighting Cruel. This guy's nuts. And he just, like you said, Diana, just got stitched up. It was like 40-something stitches, I think. And he showed
that cut in his arm was deep.
I was gonna say, if you're queasy, don't go and look at these pictures on social media, but they were pretty gruesome. And they patched him up and
covered in blood.
And now he's got Cruel at the Grundle Run, which we may end up calling that one, GB. Who knows? But it's gonna be nuts. And what'd you think, GB, of this whole promo?
It was something that felt very personal to me. I know what it's like to have somebody whose opinion matters to you. I had that happen. They told me that if nobody could ever find out that I was enjoying wrestling or going to WrestleMania, because if I did, no one would take what I do seriously. They told me to my face, someone who was like a father to me. And so the irony that here I am fully in the pro wrestling business, and still not getting their support, is something that you have to live with, you have to deal with, and you have to decide, do you allow your personal dreams to go to the side because of who won't support, or do you continue to go after it? In my case, I'm not getting in the ring with them, but you better believe my support, or excuse me, my success is as big of a wrestling win as anything else. The Killbilly has the privilege of getting in the ring with the friend who didn't support him. And you better believe he is going to put the boots to Dylan, to Sunny Days. But that level of pain is a real emotion that a lot of people have to deal with, whether it's in the world of wrestling or you've got whatever dream you have. And there are always the people who you think will be the biggest supporters that end up not supporting you at all. You know, that they don't like your stuff. They won't repost your stuff. You can win all of the awards and, you won't ever get their approval because they don't seem to think that you can do it. And so I think the Killbilly represents a lot of people who have those dreams. And, right now, Sunny Days represents a lot of those people who don't believe in us. And as DJ Khaled said, they didn't believe in us, but God did. And I think that the Killbilly is going to do some work, some big work at Still Here 5.
Oh, yes.
And if his appearances in the last 3 or 4 Rumble Jacks are any indication, I think maybe there'll be some weaponry involved, perhaps.
And call the fire department.
Yeah, exactly. So, and don't forget that flaming elbow that came off the top rope went right into the heart of Sunny Days, coincidentally. So, I don't know if that was part of why Sunny attacked him the other night, on top of just not believing in him. I don't know, but
the other thing too is sometimes people are only satisfied leaving you where they met you. So meeting the Killbilly as a cameraman, it's okay that we're friends as long as I'm the one in the spotlight and you're the one behind the scenes filming me. But you don't get to be in the spotlight too. And you don't get to surpass me potentially. And I think this is part of the issue here, again, that a lot of people deal with. I'm sure the three of us at some point have dealt with people looking at us saying, oh, we liked you when you were behind the scenes, but now all these things are, I don't know. They start to get real funny. And so I think that, again, is leading to this. I don't think that Dylan or Sunny Days is satisfied with seeing the Killbilly somewhere other than behind a camera and editing photos and videos. And I think this is a problem when you underestimate somebody and what they are fully capable of doing. And so the Killbilly is going to have a lot of fight in him. And I think Dylan, Sunny Days is going to fight as well to try to keep the Killbilly down.
Yeah, it was one of the lines, and I probably won't get it exactly right, but got a huge reaction from the crowd and made me even go like, oh boy, is when he said something along the lines of, is it because my career is taking off while your career is starting to fizzle? And crowd was like, oh, and even I was like, uh-oh, okay. Because, I'm standing there in the ring like, and here's the thing, and we all talked to Tony Schiavone, and we know how he feels about trying to interview somebody and then they take the mic away. So anyways, I will say that I don't know if it got picked up on the mic, but Nathan did ask me politely, do you mind? Because initially I was going to stand there and do an interview with him, and then but he was so fired up, he took the mic and just wanted to go off. So then I was awkwardly in the corner listening to this and seeing the fire and the passion going, oh boy. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I remember seeing this video earlier this week when Sunny attacked out of nowhere. So I'm kind of, looking over my shoulder thinking, all right, if he gets in the ring, I'm bailing real quick.
Right.
But anyways, it's going to be nuts. We've seen what Nathan's capable of. GB, like I just said, you and I have called numerous matches from all over the country where he's been involved in some crazy, crazy stuff. And I'm not too sure. And the thing is, if Dylan or Sunny or whatever you want to call him, if he hasn't believed in him, I'm wondering if he's watched much of Nathan's stuff. Right. Whereas you and I have. So we know what he's capable of. I don't know that Dylan or Sunny is aware. So we're going to find out, though, but it's going to be wild. And anyways, moving on to the next matchup here. Danny Jordan was back in singles action, taking on the returning Heather Monroe, who we had not seen since, correct me if I'm wrong, last Still Here. So it had been about 11 months.
Yeah.
And Heather was back in town, taking on Danny Jordan, the face of the women's division here in SHW, looking to prove a point. And man, what a great matchup it was between two very, very talented competitors.
If we could just get more matches like this, can we please can we make an order for more matches like this? I mean, the women have so much to give. They really do. I just wish there was more of it. But oh God, this was a great match. Heather and Danny back and forth, back and forth. I've noticed lately that Danny's been winning a lot of submissions. Like she has her J drop, right? And that is amazing. I love that move. But then she's winning on submissions. And that's a whole nother ball game.
We need to ask her what she calls that Fujiwara armbar. Like, I don't know if it's something to do with misdemeanor. Like, how could we weave that into the name somehow? I don't know. I have to talk to her. We need to, next time we see her, see if she's got some new names to give us, because obviously the J drop, which we've been calling for years now. But yeah, these submission moves, like what is she calling them? You know, curious.
I don't know. I want to see this again. I even talked to Heather afterwards, and I was like, please come back.
Yeah.
I know she's with David, and she said they're able to travel together. I said, even if David can't come, just come back. We want to see more of you. We love to see more of you, and it is what it is. You know, however we need to talk to Jake. Do we need to talk to Jake? Brandon, can you call him? I mean,
you got his number.
Oh boy.
Can you drop that line so we can see what's going on? We need more of this. We need more of this.
I'll put it this way with Jake. He if he needs something, he reaches out. I don't text him. I don't bother him. I know better than that. But if he needs me to relay a message, he'll let me know. That's as far as that goes. Just for everybody else out there who's feeling like, oh, let's tell Brandon to tell Jake this.
So he won't even leave you on red. It's just like unopened.
Right.
All right.
Right. Oh gosh. Yeah. So so there's a couple of interesting things. Thing number one, obviously the match was absolutely fantastic, as we knew it would be. You know, these two, as we mentioned in the pre-show, battled back in October of 2021. Heather Monroe got the win. You know, obviously a lot has changed for both of them since then. Danny returning from injury, Heather, really going out to travel throughout the country to improve her skills and to, hone her craft, and did all the things. A great, great, great match. The comments that Danny had at the end, where she said, I've been looking for something. We're all looking for something, and it looks like it's not going to be here. So maybe I need to go elsewhere to get it. And, she didn't say the words, but, it was the silent P, right? Like the silent P is a women's championship.
One of the other comments that Danny said after the match was that she was going to look somewhere else for,
which is a tragedy.
Yeah, I know. But what ended up happening was the very next night at Anarchy, at their 25th anniversary show, she sent in a promo video calling out the NWA World Women's Champion, Kenzie Page, who had a match on that show. Kenzie then grabbed the microphone and answered that challenge and challenged Danny to the NWA World's Women's Championship at Still Here 5. So that's
which is crazy.
That will be on the line.
The cool thing is we're going to have an NWA Women's World Title match at Southern Honor at Still Here 5. That is going to be amazing. And I think the entire home team is going to be pulling for Danny Jordan to become the new NWA Women's World Champion. Extremely prestigious, obviously. Great people have held that title. Camille over 860 days. Like it's a thing. And I'd be okay if Danny was going as the Southern Honor Women's Champion, fighting for the NWA Women's World Title. But if by her own admission, that's the only way she can get women's gold, yeah, Lucy, we got some splaining to do.
Mm.
Cruel holding the IWTV World Championship. That was our next match. Cruel defending that IWTV Independent Wrestling World Championship against the Action Champion, Adam Priest, which this makes 2 months in a row that both the Action title belt itself and the Action owner and president and chief in charge, whatever you want to call him, Matt Griffin, was in the building 2 months in a row. I couldn't believe it. And both times on the microphone. Like, who keeps, and I know it wasn't your fault, Diana, but somebody kept giving him a live mic, and nobody in the building wanted to hear anything he had to say.
He was very rude.
Yeah.
Very rude.
So on top of that match, I mean, this match, there were so many different threads that were going on here. First of all, great match. You have two guys that were best friends at one point, you know, thick as thieves, putting on a great match, because here's the thing. There's always a size difference with Cruel and whoever his opponent is.
Always.
But especially with Adam Priest. And that's no knock to his ability, but he's not the tallest guy in the world. And so when he's next to Cruel, it's even more noticeable that he's not the tallest guy in the world. And there's quite a size disparity there. And, but despite that, Adam can still put up one heck of a fight against somebody the size of Cruel.
Mm-hmm.
So that match was a big deal in and of itself. You've got Matt Griffin out there. You've got the returning Brooklyn, who shows up out of nowhere and gets involved. Cyrus ends up coming out, getting involved. I mean, it was all kinds of chaos. I mentioned it earlier. After a lot of matches, there were so many different types of chaos going on that I just, again, we've said this before, we were left with more questions than answers. And so, what was your take on all this, GB?
It was wild. It was crazy. It was a lot to keep up with. And I believe after all of it, still your IWTV World Champion is Cruel. But the way we got there was really crazy. And it looked like, you know, justice was going to be served. Brooklyn showed up to hashtag stand by her man. But then that didn't work. Like, I don't know why she picked this forum to take off her ring, put it in another man's pocket, and ultimately attempt to cost Cruel the IWTV World Champion. There's an awful lot going on that clearly we don't understand.
At one point, Matt Griffin, the ref got taken out, and Matt Griffin throws on a ref shirt because he's an IWTV representative. And I guess that made it okay for him to be the official. I don't know. It was insane.
Yeah, they tried a lot of things to get that IWTV World title off of Cruel, who at this point has been champion now for about 313 days, you know, and it's been quite the reign. But for Cruel, who is a monster, I'm just trying to figure out how he feels with Brooklyn turning on him. And of all things, taking off her wedding ring and handing it to another man. Like, what are we? It's a lot. I think they need therapy.
Yeah, a little bit.
Who's going to sit in on that one?
Could you imagine? You remember when, like,
Dr. Shelby?
Remember when Kane and Daniel Bryan had to go to therapy? Yeah,
yes.
Dr. Shelby.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, that's who needs to sit in with Cruel and Brooklyn and Adam Priest. And Matt Griffin, just all four of them, and maybe Cyrus.
Send him to 90 days of last resort.
And Cyrus. Yeah. My thing is, Matt's whole deal was Cruel is not the IWTV champion.
Before you get there, Diana, I said the exact same thing to Gerard on commentary.
I heard you do it on commentary. I was like, thank God somebody else said the same thing, because I said it in the ring. I was like, hold on.
Yeah.
You're going to announce Adam Priest as the next IWTV champion when you're already claiming that Cruel is not the real champion. So which is it?
Yeah.
Who's your champion? Because it sounds like you're accepting Cruel as your champion, which he should be, because he is. He is the real I don't know where I hadn't even seen this other title. I will say that I got to hold this world championship title in my hands as they were wrestling for it Friday night, and it's very nice.
Yes.
Brooklyn I've never, I can't imagine, I can't remember one time I was actually happy to see her come out, but I was happy to see her come out and take up for Cruel. But it didn't last long. It was like she was there maybe 5 minutes and switch. What?
Yeah.
What? How does that happen? And I get it. Cruel has been all over the country. There's been this Casey girl that he's been doing these matches with and all this other crap. There's something out there somewhere. And I can imagine being the wife, you're not always able to go. There may be some feelings there. I don't know, but this is your husband.
Why did she put it in Adam Priest's
Why did you put
pocket?
it in, why did you put it in Adam's pocket? That gave me so many more questions. What's going on?
Who knows? What I do know is that Cyrus coming out at the end, holding up
made
that
it more confusing.
Yeah, holding up that IWTV championship. And now it's been announced that he's getting a shot at that championship at Still Here 5. So you're going to have the two big behemoths. If you'll remember last year at Still Here 4, it was Cyrus versus Judas at the time in a last man standing
Which
match.
he defeated.
Right. And so now you got two more big bulls
So was
here.
he coming out to just kind of shoo Adam Priest away, say, no, this is my opportunity? Was he doing that? Because I was so confused.
That's how it looked to me. And the other thing too is I think Adam Priest probably dodged a bullet because Cyrus has made it known that he wants that title belt. And if Adam Priest had somehow won it, Cyrus was going to come after him.
Yeah.
And he already took a beating from Cruel. So I don't know, but yeah,
I'm
that
going
match
to be looking for more to unfold from this. And I know something's coming. Something's coming.
Well, we'll see next month. I mean, like I said, that match has been made official. It's on the poster. So it'll be Cruel and the Atrocity Cruel and Cyrus for the IWTV World Championship.
So will it be Cruel in Brooklyn? Or will it just be Cruel?
Something tells me it won't be Brooklyn after what happened last month. I don't know.
But I don't know. You got a month. I mean, things happen. They do still have. They have kids together. They have home. They have lives.
Who knows? I do know that Cruel will be taking on the Kill Billy at the Grundle Run this coming weekend. But anyways,
that's all I know.
I just hope the Kill Billy healed up enough.
One day at a time.
One day.
Oh, well, anyways, moving on from there, we had the Jake the Snake Legacy Championship match. Chip Day defending against Owen Knight. Two bad boys. Two bad boys, Diana. What were your thoughts?
It was so good. It was so good. I want to see this one again. I can't wait till it comes back out on IWTV so I can rewatch this one. Fire match. Two different styles, but
and not even the match itself. I mean, the match was great. We knew it was going to be. That's a main event anywhere in the world.
Yes.
And it was kind of what happened after the match that got everybody talking with all the chaos that ensued after that, which ended up, again, setting up next month with a 6-man challenge for the JTS Legacy Championship. But GB, Owen and Chip.
What a match. I think we all knew this match was going to be incredible. It's one of my dream matches for anything SHW, and it delivered as we knew it would. Chip Day right now, I'm going to go so far as to say it's the best we've ever seen him. He is on fire. This is where he's wanted to be, to hold a championship that has meant a lot to him, to finally be recognized individually as a champion. Well-deserved, holding a title that means the world. Jake the Snake, he gets to actually help really add to the legacy of that title. What a match. What a moment. And I think everybody's realizing the prestige of that title as well. So we saw a number of faces come out of the woodworks to say, I want to stake my claim to this championship. And so it's going to lead to what I believe is going to be a 6-pack challenge for the Jake the Snake Legacy Championship. And this is going to be wild. I'm intrigued to see what the rules will be like, what all of the things will entail. But man, I think this is going to be a great big challenge for Chip Day. But He issued
Who
it.
is confident enough to throw that out there for all these?
That's the thing.
Yeah,
He
he's the
issued
one that put it
challenge.
out there. Exactly. Because
Yeah.
all these guys entered the ring. You had the Kidway, Owen, Kyle Matthews, Najicism, and Shoot Taylor surprising the crowd.
Yes.
As soon as that music hits, man, everybody shoot, shoot,
Mhm.
shoot,
Yeah.
Taylor. I mean, everybody gets hyped when that comes on. It's
Oh,
funny
yeah.
because it went from Owen Knight having the most hype entrance music to now he has one of the most like depressing entrances. And now you have Shoot
It's his
Taylor.
dark side.
So now
It's
I feel
his
like
dark.
well, it's depressing for the crowd because we're all kind of bummed that he's changed it. And I
Yeah.
say we because we're fans too. And
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
now that it's not his original song, it's not nearly as hype as it used to be. And I
Yeah.
feel like Shoot Taylor's song now takes the role of the hypest entrance music and is hypest, yeah. The
Most
hypest.
hype. Most
Most
hype.
hype.
Most hype.
Yes.
Most hype.
Hypest. I'm going to use hypest
think-
anyway.
I think this match is going to end up in a lot of developments that are going to come about. As far as there's going to be one winner,
Mm.
right? But you got 6 people in this match. It's kind of a Rumblejack feel, you know. Think new things start, new sparks come about, and
Yeah.
new feelings get hurt, and you know, people get rubbed wrong, and who knows what happens from here. I mean, Shoot and Owen have been having this thing. Owen and Naja's been having this thing.
Yep.
You got what is it? Kenway? Is it Kenway?
Yeah.
Kenway, and then Kenway and Kyle.
Mhm.
Kenway
Chip.
and Chip.
Mhm.
Chip and Kyle. Chip and Owen.
Yeah.
All very explosive elements.
I mean, this
yeah.
is a whole show by itself.
Mhm.
But bottom line, coming out of 54 was Chip Day retaining that title.
Yes.
And then, of course, Chip Day laying out that 6-man challenge. So more power to him. He's confident, like you guys said. He's defended it successfully 2 times in a row. And thus far proved to be a great inaugural JTS Legacy champion. And that's going to bring us to our main event for the evening, the 6-man tag team match. Of course, we mentioned at the beginning of the show, David Ali being taken out by the end game. And we weren't sure
One
if he
more
was.
thing. I'm sorry. I got one more thing to add
Oh.
to Diana's thing. I wanted to just
Oh.
confirm it. But that is, we forgot one other element, Chip Day and Shoot Taylor,
Yes.
where Chip
Yes.
eliminated Shoot from
Yes.
the JTS Legacy Tournament. So it's one big giant gumbo.
It's
There
a
you go.
whole show.
It is.
There
Sorry.
you go.
Back
No,
to
there you go.
Brandon.
Yeah. But back to the main event, 6-man tag team match. Earlier in the show, we saw the end game seemingly take out David Ali. Was he going to show up in the main event? We weren't sure. What we did know finally was that Gunnar and Corey both had arrived to the building. And it started out as basically a handicap match, a 3-on-2 handicap. And the end game was basically, you know, the numbers game was just too much. And Gunnar and Corey were struggling and looked to be in trouble. And then here comes the savior, all bandaged up and made his way to the ring like a house of fire. Kind of shocked everybody because, like we said at the beginning of the show, I thought there's no way this guy's going to make it back out here for the main event. Yeah, it was, you know, a little over 2 hours later or whatever, but still, you know, we hadn't received a medical update throughout the night, so we weren't sure, but I just thought there's no way. It just goes to show you the fortitude of David Ali to be able to dig down deep, and it showed how badly he wanted to get in there and get some momentum with a victory over the end game, especially over Judas, heading into their main event championship match at the anniversary next month. So your thoughts on the savior making his way back out there for the main event?
Well, I know pre-show we talked about which David we would get. He said probably the teacher,
The educator.
the educator.
Yeah.
Then he got the beat down from the end game, and he needed a savior.
Yeah.
But I think what we got was that Street Fighter.
Mhm.
Who can take a beating like that and come back hot and fiery like that and just crack heads other
Right.
than a Street Fighter? So that I'm going with that. I'm going with that. I love that he did that. I love that he came out and just he pinned the champion.
I was going to say, you can say it loud and proud.
He pinned the
Mhm.
champion.
Yeah.
Mhm.
By the way,
Again.
not only did he pin him, that's the first time ever he's been in an SHW ring. The first time ever
Yeah.
that Judas has been pinned to the mat. Yes, he may have lost
Yes.
that last man standing match, but he didn't get pinned to the mat.
No.
And
That's right.
the other time he lost in the ring, I think it was like a 6-man scramble, or it might have been some sort of war games or something where like
But he
five guys had, there's like 5 guys had to pin him or something. But there's not been one person to ever pin him to the mat in an SHW ring
And
until
that was
the other night.
Statement. There's not one man that can pin me.
Right.
Not one man.
And David did it.
David did it.
Can he do it again? 3 seconds. That's all it's going to take next month.
All it takes. This was a necessary moment for David Ali, who we thought was eliminated, basically. And we were wondering if he'd even make it to Still Here 5. So to come out of this with a win and with the pinfall.
Yeah.
Huge. So the question is, can he do it one more time when it really counts with all of the gold on the line? This is the position he wanted to be in. He came back. He went away to Chicago to again, find himself, to become even better, and he came back, won the Rumble Jack, which said a lot. Now it's all about Still Here 5. Can he become the new champion? We'll find out in October.
Oh, it's going to be nuts. There's already 9 huge matches on this card, 5 championship matches. And then, of course, DDP will be in the house for a special meet and greet. All of this is going down October 6th at Still Here 5. And again, we'll be previewing and pumping up that show in the coming weeks. But man, SHW54, what a night it was. And what a build to our, dare I say, our biggest show ever. We always say Still Here is the biggest show of the year. Well, this is our biggest show ever. This is a 5-year anniversary. Oh, and something I wanted to show you guys. I was doing a little cleaning around the house, and I found some old documents, some old papers, some old flyers. I found the very first Still Here flyer.
Oh.
That I want to show you. I don't know if it'll show up good on the camera.
Wow. Yeah, there it is.
Wow.
Wow.
So this was a War Games match, and at the top of the flyer, it was 9 men, 3 teams. Okay. So you had one team was the New Era, led by AC Mack, who was the champion. It was AC, Lee Johnson, and Owen Knight. Then you had Lethal Poison, led by Corey Hollis, along with Judas at the time and Brady Pierce. And then you had the team of Fear, which was Sunny Days and Logan Creed at the time, and their partner, Alan Angels. So, and the crazy stipulation in that match was whoever got the pinfall would become the new champion. And I tell you what, AC Mack did not like that stipulation one bit. And that's actually where Logan Creed became the champion after power bombing Corey Hollis through the ring. Okay. Now on the bottom here, I'm not sure if this has every match on here, but it's got 4 more at the bottom. There was a tag team match, the New Era, which consisted of David Ali and Danny Jordan, taking on, it was listed here as Shannon Moore and Lindsay Snow. Shannon couldn't make it at the last minute. It ended up being the Innovator of Violence, Tommy Dreamer, teaming with Lindsay Snow in that tag team match. Then you had Ashton Starr versus Sean Dean. Sean Dean being managed by our old pal, Logan Chase, at the time.
Somebody check on Logan.
You had one of the early singles matches in SHW with Joe Black and William Huckabee.
That's right.
And you had a tag team match, Matt and Joey Lynch versus Not Yet Rated, which is Jordan Kingsley and Kevin Ryan, the inaugural SHW champ. So, man, I saw this amongst some other stuff, too, and just taking a trip down memory lane and thinking to myself, holy cow, has it been 5 years already? Like, how did that happen?
It's amazing.
But anyways, I can't wait till our 5th anniversary, October 6th. It's going to be awesome. But again, we got a lot more talking about that in the coming weeks right here on this podcast. But that's going to do it for tonight. And until we see you next time, this has been
SHW.
This is our wrestling.
Bam.